Okay, so let's get into our final horror movie news before we move on to the other stuff. Let's talk about Felissa Rose. So Felissa Rose, who y'all may or may not know, she played Angela in the 1983 slasher film Sleepaway Camp, which I absolutely love. I know the acting is atrocious. I know there was some scenes in there that it's like, oh my god, you could not get away with the shit that was in there today. Because remember, they had like a damn molester that worked at the camp. And one of my favorites is Ricky because his mouth is similar to mine. You like the way he was cussing in that damn movie, that used to crack me up. So yeah, so there is I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if it's a sequel, a remake, but the original guy who directed the film, and I remember I went to IMC Theater in on West 4th Street, like around that area. Yeah, I think it's West 4th Street, right off the train, it's right there. And I got to see like the original, print of the film. The director was there. They did a Q&A. And there were trans people that was there in the audience and asked questions and was talking about how people always feel like the movie is transphobic. But I'm like, if trans people are actually watching the show and feeling like they looked at Angela as a hero to them, then I think maybe we should listen to the trans community and realize that if they're not offended by what Rob put the director, Rob Hiltzik is his name, particularly if you want to go to Robert. Um, what Rob put in the film, they're not offended by it, then why is everybody else trying to be offended for them? So yeah, he's working on a remake to the film, and Felissa Rose is hoping to be cast in the film in some capacity. So appearing at the recent Days of the Dead convention. Speaking of which, did y'all see that new trailer for Vivica Fox? She's doing a remake of Night of the Living Dead. That movie looked terrible. The trailer. It's on YouTube. I saw it yesterday. She's in it. Miko Hughes. You remember the little kid from that was Gage in Pet Cemetery. He also played Heather Langenkamp's son in New Nightmare. And he's been in a bunch of movies, but he's in the film. But anyway, he also did like a fan film of Freddy on YouTube that I thought was actually good. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, that I was just thinking of the dead thing and it reminded me of that. But anyway, let's get back into this topic and let me, bring it back. So yeah, she shared her thoughts on the remake, including detailing the part she liked to play. Now, with the new Sleepaway Camp, I feel given the subject matter, we really need to be tender with it and give it the best reimagining we can, alluding to the cult classic's unforgettable twist ending. She said, I feel like it needs to be handled really tenderly and with understanding of our trans community and LGBTQ community. It has to be really done right. Now, she said, I think we really have to give it the love and the understanding that today, where we are, it's being very supportive and giving to it what the character is going through. I'm super excited to see that. Rose also revealed she's been campaigning for the part of Aunt Martha, memorably played by Desiree Gould in the original. She said, I want to play Aunt Martha. So that's what I've been telling them. That would be super fun. In the very end, there's Aunt Martha with Peter, the very last little moment, and we don't hear Peter's side of that conversation. And I think that will be pivotal in understanding where the character stands. I think we need to dig deep into that. And I was like, you know what, that might be actually interesting because since they have Kenan Thompson from Kenan and Kel who's producing it, his production company, AFA. And if you bring some people in it, I do think that, the film was ahead of its time. We never really saw trans characters explored in that way. And yeah, some people look back on the film and think stuff in there is a bit aged and a bit dated, a little problematic, whatever the case is. But if you really want to explore that whole trans allegory regarding her being a serial killer, I was like, maybe what they could do is change it up and make Angela one of the counselors and not one of the kids. And if you do, because I was thinking that would probably be a good person to put as Angela in the film. If y'all want to hire somebody that's transgender, I would say go with Josie Tota. Now, Josie Tota is in Faces of Death. She also, has been in a bunch of other things, but she might be a little too old to play a kid at the camp. So she might work better. So maybe change it up a little bit. Make her a counselor who's going around killing people because maybe there's a queer kid or something that's there at the camp and people are picking on them and something resonates in her regarding what's happening with this kid and it flicks something off in her brain and she goes off or whatever the case is. And then to have Felissa Rose as an Easter egg kind of come back and play Aunt Martha, I think that's genius. I would love to see her come back in some capacity to play the part. She can't come back as an older Angela because I don't think that that's where they want to go with that character, is have her as an adult. Maybe, so who knows? Maybe they want to, I don't know necessarily where they're going to go with the character, but yeah, if she's not going to come back and play that same part because the jig is up, everybody knows who she is. Um, have her play the aunt who was crazy and was like, I already had a boy. His sister, you actually remember in the movie, believe that Angela's father was punching a man. Because there was a scene where there was two men in the bed, and then you see Angela and, well, the brother and the girl, who Angela turned out to be the boy, and then the little girl, his sister, were giggling in the doorway while they in the bed making love, which I'm thinking they did not have them in that same shot where they was doing that. It was the camera juxtaposing. Hopefully, that's what was going on when they shot that scene. And then the boating accident where the sister actually died. The boy survived, and then the aunt was like, I already got a boy with Ricky, so now I wanted a daughter. And then she basically made the boy into Angela. And that's where the whole trauma situation came from. So, and all the child, and I think James Earl Jones' father was in that movie too. So yeah, however they try to work this out, I was like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they work out the trans allegory if they still keep that in. I think at this point you have to. Like, you can't really just come in and be like, oh, we're just gonna get rid of all that twist in there. If you're gonna come back and do this remake, you got to make it interesting where it's not something that we see coming or what a new kind of twist or something. So hopefully he's working with some people that's going to actually help him come up with some good ideas. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would love to see Felissa Rose in the part of like in the movie in some capacity. If she don't get to play Aunt Martha, make her like a somebody that's on the campsite or one of the ladies that dropping her kids off at the camp. Something in just in passing, like she waving from the car, and I'm like, oh, but then I don't like little cameos like that. Give us something where she got dialogue. Because Felissa been still making movies and things. If I'm not mistaken, I think she was in. Yeah, she was. What was the last movie I saw? I think she was in that movie called Stream, which was done by the same people that did Terrifier. So yeah, she's been out here doing little movies every now and again. But I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you love to see Felissa Rose, the horror icon from Sleepaway Camp, reprise her, make a cameo in some capacity in this upcoming remake of Sleepaway Camp, one of my favorite horror movies from back in the day. So, well, camp horror movies. So, and that whole scene where they basically went and killed all them little kids in the sleeping bags that was sleeping in the woods. I'm like, y'all, the shit y'all put in this movie, you couldn't get away with a lot of that stuff today. It'd be too controversial. But we like a little controversy in our horror. So, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below.